Yo, 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 welcome to another episode of the EPL Match Week Review. It's your boy, Jason Gooner. We're back in the studio, people, and this time, you know what it's all about. It's about the EPL action from Match Week 2. Yes, we have the prediction table complete. We have the winner for the week. We have the donkey of the week to reveal tonight. Of course, we're going to go through all the fixtures. First and foremost, people, you don't know, it is time for all the fans of the various teams in the EPL. If your team was victorious this weekend, we want to see 3 points in the comment section. Drop your 3 points in the comment section. Listen, I have my three, so I drop my threes in the comment section. So people, full up the comment section with threes if your side got 3 points today. Why am I not a moderator on my own show? That's crazy. Nabil said 1 point him get. Jaja. RR said 3. I like the bid second, so I reject the donkey, Michael. I had one. Is that a bit of foreshadowing? Is that some foreshadowing? I think I had one was keeping up with our picks for the weekend and probably thinking, boy, I know I'm a candidate for this stupid donkey of the week thing, Don't worry, we'll get to the reveal. Joseph Brown have to drop him one, cause him side get a one. Big up Joseph. Forest at them. Rough week. I wouldn't be surprised if I get the hee-haw. So we have some people thinking that they might be the ones. They're thinking that they might be the ones, but let's see. Bless up to CK in the building. Massive respect to you, CK. Member the channel, always big up yourself. 3 with some eyeballs. Somehow we believe that CK I tell line. Yes, people, we have all the pictures to get through. We have the thumbnail. You see the stars of the weekend. Not even the stars of the weekend. I won't call them that. I will say this is the top of the table teams right now. So we have young Rio, 16-year-old Liverpool starlet, came from Chelsea, scoring in the Premier League, first goal of his career being a match-winning goal against Newcastle. Of course, we have the man himself, Gyökeres. We have the Chelsea players, Pedro, Chalobah, celebrating. There's so many goals in that game, I didn't know which one. Then we have Manchester City. What's going on with you and Spurs at the Etihad? I don't know why every time you play this team there, you lose. 2-0 to them. Paulinho celebrating there. Then, of course, Jay Saguna himself celebrating as well. And then we have the 1-1 draw with Joseph Brown and Crystal Palace, right? Nottingham Forest, 1-1. So we're going to talk about those matches and all the rest as well. Bring the stats up. Try to analyze the games that we were able to see and definitely break down some of the stuff we saw. Try to talk about why certain things happen in the games and, of course, banter people as well, because that's a part of life, right? If you can't take it, don't stay here, people. You're going to get banter. Big up everybody checking in early. You see the scroll on the screen. Like, share, and subscribe. That is a must. You have to like and share and subscribe. Let it get into the algorithm and say, yes, this is something that we need to blast out there for other people to see. Yes, people, like, share, and subscribe. I didn't even share my own video tonight because you don't know. Man just can't do everything sometimes, thumbnail and have to do this and that and that. So we just press live. We know say the people are going to tune in. Them want to see if them get donkey of the week. You don't know the thing. Go. Yes, people. So obviously, there's some other things going on right now. Most of my viewers here right now are also Jamaica fans. So I understand. You see Jason Gooner go live and I say, please Gooner, talk about the 44-man squad we drop. People, just relax, okay? There's going to be another squad. It's going to be official. It will drop this week, I believe, towards the end of the week. That's when we'll break everything down. But people, I know you have seen it. I know there's some people on there you probably didn't see. And people, don't worry. That and much more will come later in the week as far as the Reggae Boys are concerned. But for right now, people, this is the EPL Match Week Review. So let's get right into the fixtures, people, because why waste time? But people, remember, like, share, and subscribe. Let me go and big up the people in the building from early. I had one with Dunhill. Big up yourself, Sis Chin. RR said LFC 3. CK I tell lie. Joseph Brown said 1. weeks don't get much worse, to be honest. Ja. Chile. I don't know what it is with you and Spurs in that place, but it now work out for me. I tell you. Championship candidate RR, big up yourself. Yeah, man, that was a rapid game today. A part of me just want to work, the other way this week, Why for that? But work from the most recent game to the furthest game. But no, we're not going to do that. We're going to close the analyzing and the stats part of the show with the Liverpool-Newcastle game. We're going to wait. We're going to wait, people. We're going to wait, people. Can't rush a thing. West Ham definitely going down. Potter already on the toilet seat. Boy, may I tell you, my first manager to go down or to get sacked, I did say Scott Parker still. But boy, West Ham look doomed. Trust me. It's about entertaining. Was it against Spurs that Pep this year? Yeah, because this is the cost of which this for real. That's some real Guzu. I work over this upon them. Trust me. We say don't fall feet. Nah, man. You don't know the thing, man. We sit through those things, The one big facade. We not jump. Since we started scoring at the Spurs Stadium, we can't beat them at home. Seems like a trade. Yeah, because the away team been winning that fixture, boy, man. I tell you. Tottenham will be in the top 6. RR. We saw this story before with Ange, but I think he might be onto something because this man ain't this man ain't he's not Ange. Thomas Frank is way better. Rob Smith, not even yell up nobody. Don't yell up the host. Colonizer talk tonight, question mark. Me know Rob. I know, see, I just did mention, Rob, before you click, Because me just said, me know people are going forward tonight and say, yo, we know talk about the squad with drop star. Ray. Brother, that's a watch list. So we are going to watch. There's no need to react to a watch list. At least I don't think so. You might disagree still, but let's wait till the squad drop, man. Robert David laugh. Big up. All right, people. So let's get right into it. The fixtures for the week, people. And remember, like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. We don't stop saying. Yeah, man. If you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. If you're not new to the channel, you're always tuning in. Consider joining the membership, like my brethren CK has done. Just a way to support, show your support for the channel. $1.99 a month, you see it. And yeah, just a way to keep everything rolling. As the channel grows, the membership grows, we can do more with the channel. So you don't know, all the support helps. Seeing? All right, so West Ham Chelsea was the first fixture. This is actually I don't know if it's gonna be the last week, but this last weekend before the international window, there will be no Friday game. So the preview show this week will be Friday. As opposed to Thursday. All right, people, all of you keeping up with when the shows are coming. So Friday will be the preview show, and of course Sunday night will be the review show, because that is the close of the close of this part of the season, and then it's the first international window. So yeah, Friday preview, Sunday review. That will be the show this coming week. So the last Friday fixture of this little first start of the season here was West Ham and Chelsea. And the big news before that game kicked off was the international break is the 31st. Yeah, the 31st. And then the first, Chile, you're so right. I remember the comment. You were like, yo, I'm just going to say draw because, but you weren't confident going into this game. That was nonsense to pretend like the coach are working. If you discuss that, what the hell is a watch list? Wait a second, that's a show in itself, right? What the hell is a watch list? Boy, Rob, me just don't know start. I want to be happy tonight. So that's why I'm just going to talk about the football, And my team actually win in this damn league. So we can talk about it. But the football was nice this weekend. So we're going to talk about it, Rob. Show and power to rotted. I depend on none of them things there right now. Okay. Bless up, Jason. Mr. Donkey checking in. Well, almost. Why float? No, but float, you never there for redeem yourself this week. Oh no, you were. Yeah, boy, yeah. You are going for the repeat still, you know. Your career looks meaty. All right, Labil, not say nothing. Oh, when your career buck your side this year, we're gonna see who meaty. You see it? I feel no way though. Him just keep score a goal and be meaty just to see it. All right, so let's get this on the screen right now, people. You don't know what work with. I forgot. I don't know. I forgot find out some kind of way how to work with SofaScore. Cause I definitely get a lot of ratings on the channel because I always looking at them things. But I like when them break it down, people. So Chelsea took on West Ham, and as I was saying before, Cole Palmer was the big story before the game kicked off. Obviously, you see right here in the starting lineup, no Cole Palmer. Estevao came into the starting lineup and he proved to be ready for such an opportunity. Had a very good game, had a nice assist to Neto. And Chelsea, in the end, cruise. Now, they did go down, first of all, to a brilliant goal from Paqueta, and he pretty much was the only person that turned up for them on the day. Bowen was okay, but didn't have much support at all. Fulkrug really looks to be, well, Labil just say, Gyökeres is meaty. Then what you call Fulkrug, brother? You don't look like a player at all. You know what I mean? I missed the first show last, so I had no predictions. That is true. That is true. It was Nitro. It was Nitro that was running from getting the back to back. Sorry. My bad float. Yeah, he did miss the first show. And usually that bad still with the predictions, to be honest. But yeah, it was a rough week this week for like almost everybody still, So yeah, man, it's one of them things, Football, I'm saying football, the ball is around, I think people got carried away with the first week with most of the predictions. Everybody will win first week and I just think I'll win again. But that's how it go, people. All right, so this was the game, people. 1-0 they went down, as I said, but boy, it's like they just upset Chelsea. Chelsea really have 5 goals from that point. Their last goal, it looked like it was going to be worse because their last goal of the game came in the 58th minute. Chalobah scoring. So they scored from set piece, open play, mistakes by West Ham. They scored a goal almost every kind of way. João Pedro had a good game, 1 goal, 2 assists. Neto was there on the end of one as well. So yeah, Estevao set up Enzo Fernandez. I'd said Pedro Neto earlier, that was a mistake. Caicedo got a goal as well on the day. So yeah, it was a great day. And basically, some of my one Chelsea fan that I know was looking at it and saying, boy, look at the difference. You see the 2 managers there. Obviously, both would have managed Chelsea. Potter, obviously, for a very short time, getting the axe there. And it's looking like, yeah, it was a good move by Chelsea because, he has gone to West Ham and really they haven't kicked on at all. Most managers last season that came into teams, their team had a bounce. I want to say he's like the only manager that came to the league that the team never had a bounce. David Moyes came in, the Wolves manager was in relegation, he got them out of that. West Ham just kind of stayed the same from when they fired their old manager. They never really had a bounce. And that's very telling. Typically when a new manager comes into a role, they're going to have that little bounce once the new manager gets in, new ideas, fresh energy. But that never happened with Potter. So, that goes to show something right there. When you have a look at the stats in this game, 7 big chances for Chelsea, right? Weren't very clinical on the day. See the XG at 2.74. They really could have scored more goals than what they had, to be honest. But of course, they wouldn't be upset with 5 goals. 0.73 expected goals to West Ham. And to be honest, I'm struggling to really find this. Like, when did that happen? Don't really remember. They only had 1 big chance on the day. But yeah, Chelsea was dominant in this fixture. One thing you can see here with Chelsea, very good balance. And I think I had mentioned it to the same friend of mine who was talking about the managers. I said, is a bit crazy to think. But to me, the way Chelsea played this game, it was kind of similar to when sometimes Arsenal looks a bit more fluid when Saka doesn't play, because I just feel like Chelsea really wants to play through Cole Palmer, and sometimes getting the ball to Cole Palmer in that specific instance isn't the right play. And I think his presence not being on the pitch, more often than not, the Chelsea players were just playing the right option as opposed to trying to force it to Cole Palmer. So that in a way I think helped them on the day. Not to say that Cole Palmer should never play, but I think it should just show them that even when he's playing, they should not try to cater to him so much. Just they have talent everywhere in the attacking third. So whatever is the right play at the time, just make that play. And I feel like they were able to do that a lot in this game. And of course, West Ham doesn't offer much resistance. Once a team is really on it, I feel like every team in this league probably that plays really well is going to give West Ham a whole bunch of problems. I think it just hasn't worked out with some of the players. Like when you look at the signings that they made last season, Kilman, Todibo, they had Egeard and they, basically loaned him out. So he's back now. But neither of those three have really held their hand up to say, yes, I'm going to be the anchor for this defense. And I think that's where it really starts. Hermanson, who looked good at times for Leicester last year, has had a nightmare so far this season, looking terrible. At this point, I would just put Areola back in. To be honest, he has more experience. At one point he was on the French national team, so that's something, right? Hermanson just hasn't really been on it, right? And I know he was dealing with he might not play because he's injured and everything. Maybe he's not 100% or something, but he hasn't looked good at all. And I might, if I was the manager, I would be shaking up that goalkeeping position. And when you look at their bench as well, should I try Mavropanos? Because it's just not working out right now on that back line. Yeah, West Ham looking really, really, it's looking bleak for them people. Very, very bleak. Callum Wilson, I think if he's fit, you need to give him a chance to start at this point. Um, and Kyle Walker-Peters brought some decent energy, so maybe some kind of way you can get him out there somewhere. I don't know. They need to try something different. What they're doing ain't working, but that's enough on West Ham. Now, Chelsea people, I have been on the record since last season saying, listen, I think Chelsea very formidable. They have been building the team well. They have strength pretty much everywhere. The one place where I've always kind of doubted them is the goalkeeping position and also the centre back position. Now, I must say that Trevor Chalobah has really improved since his loan spell with Crystal Palace last year. I think he got a lot of confidence playing week in, week out, and just basically has grown into the player that he's now becoming for Chelsea. I think it really happened last season for him, and I think I need to judge him more based on what he's been doing recently than what his body of work might be at Chelsea. And I'm starting to realize that Tosin, I'm not so high on the player, going to be totally honest. But again, he has looked a lot more assured, of late, more recently. I do think that if Fafana can ever get healthy and like really get a run of games, he really would be like a wild card for them, because if you remember early last season before he got injured, he was probably their best defender in that early period of the season. And then he's kind of the forgotten one now. And I think if Jarrell Hater can, bed into the system properly, he'll be another one that they can rely on to give them quality minutes as well on the left side of the defense, whether it's centre back or left back, right? So, I think they did well to have Malagusto around, even though I think Reece James is the better player. Reece James, it's been proven, can't really cut it. You can't depend on him for 38 games to start. He's going to have his issue, need to come off the bench here and there. But I think up front is where it's just ridiculous. I think Estevao, Neto, Palmer, Pedro, Delap, people saying Delap might not be Chelsea quality and this and that. I think that goal where I think it was the goal that Estevao set up for Fernandez. That goal is why I think Delap is important because João Pedro might receive that ball that Delap received and try to turn himself. Delap knew that ball is just a wall pass, a foil, just lay it off to Estevao running into space. It was perfect. And I think sometimes Chelsea need, and I think that's why Nico Jackson does well with them too, because Nico Jackson is a very facilitatory striker. He likes to link up with people. And I think the lap is the same way. I think the lap just has a little bit better goal scoring instincts than Jackson. But I know, maybe they think that it don't look that nice with the lap. Maybe that's why people don't like him, because he is very like robotic and everything. But I think he's better than people give him credit for personally. I don't know if he'll get a true chance because perhaps in this game, they say Estevao got the start. I'm wondering, was Estevao always going to start, and then Pedro would have pushed up, and then Palmer would have been a little more central. I wonder if that's what could have been what it was going to be. But they did say that it was basically Estevao who went into the lineup for Cole Palmer. So, Delap was going to get his chance in this game. And one thing that I did notice as well, even though Pedro has done really, really well for Chelsea playing striker so far, I think, and the sample size just being West Ham is a bit of a concern, but I feel like João Pedro really and truly best position is where he played in this game. I think that's why you see his rating, you see his influence on the play. Overall, it was much more of an impact than in that first game they played, that nil-all draw they played. He definitely, I think he was like a 5 point, high fives or a low six rating. I look at the difference when he played this role, little freer, able to link up, drop into midfield, drive forward with the ball. That's really what he likes to do. Play off of a more target man. He saw it at Brighton with Welbeck. That's when he put up his biggest numbers, when he had a number 9 there to play off of, right? So that's something to look out for Chelsea and Maresca. Like, what is his best 11? Like, does it include Delap and Pedro? Is it Pedro up front with Palmer in the midfield? What is the best 11 going to look like for Maresca in the biggest games? That's something that's going to be interesting just from a like tactical point of view to kind of track throughout the season. They have a lot of options, but they do have a few out injured. Lavia out, Badia Shield out, Colwell with a more long-term injury. So they have their issues. They have players that are, want away. So they have what, 5 more days, 6 more days to try to get moves out. But yeah, Chelsea looking good, looking formidable. I think the first week, Crystal Palace showed again this week that they're just a well-drilled team with Glasner. They have that threat that makes you really wary of them on the counter and the break with Sarr and Mateta. So, I think people might have just, I was hearing a lot of things, the Club World Cup never helped Chelsea and them look a little tired and all these things. But that's why, we have to just relax a little bit when we see something happen in these match weeks, because it's not the end all be all, people. Things can change quickly, and we're going to notice that throughout these fixtures. But yeah, Chelsea dominant 2-1 display. If you're a Chelsea fan, I'm sure that made you feel like, yeah, my side can go on with that thing this year. And to be honest, it was a good performance. We have to give them credit. All right, so early Saturday morning, people, I woke up just in time to watch Man City at the Etihad face Tottenham. And you see the score, people, 2-0. 2-0 to the Spurs. Let me check in with the comment section, see what they must say. Normally for me, one good week of prediction results in 3 weeks of 4 out of 10. Harry Potter about to disappear out of London. You see it. West Ham are also hot garbage. Yes, they were also hot garbage. This cold analogy applies to the next fixture. Better to call back Antonio. He isn't worse than this. I'm telling you. Fulkrug is horrible, man. And I thought he wouldn't be so bad enough. Bless up Jordan in the building. Wagwan. Supposed to link up with Jordan this week. Hopefully the time them work out. Do a preview for the I go there as a Gunner representative, you know, in Liverpool land, Anfield land. Big up Conrad in the building. Yeah, man. One Barca to him thing, you know. Why Barca have a little mad game this weekend. He's a good player. I like him. Esteban is a beast to me. He look a little bit bigger. Oh, Esteban, yeah, talk. Yeah, he did say that last week. Yeah, man. So what happened? I thought he said he got 3 points. I had one on CK, 2 City fans. So one said next match. Now, what I thought about it. And the other one said, wasn't surprised by City result. All right, so people, look, I'll break it down. So why did this happen, people? Last year, them get 4. This year, them get few, right? Why did this take place? So let's just analyze how the game go or how the lineups were first. So you see City on the left, James Trafford in goal. As a matter of fact, I don't want to show no the ratings and skew anything. So I'll show you them age. Trafford in goal. Diaz and Stones on the back line. Rico Lewis at right back. Aiden Nori at left back. Nico Gonzalez in the midfield, even though Rodri fit enough to be on the bench, right? We have Reinders and Sherky in the midfield with Gonzalez. Then wide of them, you have Marmouche off the left, Oscar Baba off the right, and Erling Haaland up front. Then for Tottenham, pretty much an unchanged team. I think, well, no, it is a changed team. Pauline, I don't think started the first game. So Vicario in goal, Van de Ven, Romero, centre back pairing, Pedro Porro and Jed Spence, right and left back. Then you have Paulinia, Bentancur, and Sar. And then front three of Kudus, Richarlison, and Brennan Johnson. So those were the 2 teams that started the game, right? So right off the bat, when I look at this Man City defense, you see the 2 like stronger, more imposing centre backs, but you see the left and right back, not really, I would say, defensively the strongest, right? And you see the wingers for Tottenham. Now, Brennan Johnson, not the biggest guy in the world, but very lightning quick pace and a really good timing on his runs. I think a lot of his goals, if you notice, he doesn't do much of the work. He just arrives and puts the ball in the goal. And that's, to me, I have to consider that a skill because everybody's out there playing, trying to get chances to score. But somehow Brennan Johnson always getting a good chance to score. So I think it has to do with his timing, his ability to read his teammates and what they're going to do. And he just has a knack of showing up on the shoulder of defenders in the moment that matters, right? Now, the other thing about Tottenham in this game that was incredible, I thought, when you talk about forward players bringing your team into play, certain players come to mind like, Olivier Giroud or even Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And those are 2 players that were big, imposing, but it doesn't always have to be that way. If you really study like a Romario, a smaller, more diminutive player, even a Kun Aguero, when the ball goes to those guys, they're so technical, they're so quick with their feet that you can't really take the ball off the ball, and they know how to use their body to shield you from that football. Now, Mohamed Kudus and Richarlison, in terms of hold-up play, when the ball got to them at any point in this game, it stuck. Kudus had Aiden Nori behind, couldn't do nothing about that. And, Aiden Nori got injured early. When Ake came in, it was the same thing. They both struggled with Kudus' ability to retain the football. Man City could not get the ball off for Kudus, and for the most part, could not get the ball off for Charleston. They did an excellent job holding up the ball. And what that enabled was, Tottenham, if you look at their midfield, very workmanlike, right? You wouldn't call any of these 3 really technicians. Maybe Bentancur is the closest thing to that. Really silky on the ball. But I wouldn't even call him a technician. I think his main attribute is getting around the pitch, defensive duty, keeping the ball moving, Pat Matasar, same thing. Engine, run for days. Paulinia, enforcer, tackler. interception, So they had a very workman-like midfield, which makes sense because you're playing Man City. So you have to make sure you're fully organized and you're ready to run, right? Then when you look at your back line now, Van de Ven, Romero. Now, Romero, not my favorite player in the world, I'm going to be honest. But one thing I noticed about Romero, his teams usually win, right? He plays for Argentina, he's a World Cup winner. He's at Spurs, a team that doesn't normally win. And he has lifted a trophy with Spurs, the Europa League last year. So I have to start putting some more respect on Romero's name. Again, not my type of player. I think he's a bit too rash, a bit too wild. I think he toes the line of a red card pretty much all the time. But he does read the game really, really well. I have to give him credit for that. Right. So I think the reason why he survives is because he doesn't get put into many situations where he has to do something rash because he's reading the game and he's in a good position to make a somewhat under control challenge, right? Mickey Van de Ven, for what he lacks in reading the game, his quickness, his agility for someone his size is mad. There was a play in the second half, I think it was, where somebody's about to unleash a shot like almost in the 6-yard box. And Van de Ven somehow, by the time he lift up his foot to kick it, his foot is right there blocking the shot. And he wasn't really that close to it when it kind of developed and happened. But somehow he got the burst, slid, blocked the shot. Jed Spence, one-on-one defending. I think that skill might just land him in the national team that I think he's waiting to play for. That's not good news for the Reggae Boys fans, even though some of you probably say, oh, who cares when I want him? But I'm just saying, this kid, 1v1, if him keep this up, England have issues in the left and right back areas sometimes. Not so much the right back, but the left back area. He might be somebody that they look at. Pedro Porro, I think you can tell he's a bit more comfortable now in the Premier League after a couple seasons. You saw him getting more and more stature in the Spanish national team recently as well. And I think that's for a good reason. I think he's a decent player, very, very good delivery, very consistent with his delivery. And yeah, with Madison down, you're going to see him feature a lot more with the deliveries at the set pieces. So that was Tottenham. Basically, what I think they were able to do is retain the ball on the City defenders, bring the team up the pitch, which made City retreat. And, they felt like the people going against them going the other way, they had the athletes in the back. Even if they had pushed up some players up the field, they felt confident enough to be able to defend it. Oscar Bob is not beating Spence in a foot race. Marmouche and Porro, that's probably a good race. Not saying Porro is as fast as him, but that's probably a good race. And then, Romero is on that side, so he's reading the game, getting there before it's an issue. And I think the two new signings, Shirky and Reinders, apart from a brilliant cross from Shirky in the first half, that I thought Haaland mistimed his jump on a little bit, they weren't influential at all. They weren't influential at all. And when Paulinho, Sarr, Betancourt started putting in those hard work, the hard yards in that midfield, they just didn't have it the way they had it in the first fixture against Wolves. Nico Gonzalez, to me, just was in the game. He was playing, right? But I didn't see him influencing anything. He wasn't really stamping any kind of authority. And I know it's big shoes to fill when Rodri's not there, but Nico Gonzalez, I think, if we're being honest, has pretty much been a disappointment as a signing for City. And I don't really see him imposing himself much in the game. He got a good rating, 7.0, but the eye test tells me differently. Like, I thought Bentancur was more influential than him in the game, but he got the 0.2 more. But yeah, Trafford, have to talk about him as well. Started the game, you see who is on the bench, people. Ederson still at the club. Obviously, a lot of transfer rumors going around with him right now. I've done a rumor linked to City as well. So there's a lot going on in the goalkeeper department. But Trafford, horrible. Made a huge mistake. Wasn't really punished for that mistake, but it was basically just a sign of other things to come. He looked really, really nervous once he made that first mistake and could never get out of his head after that. And yeah, City look, that it's not like they didn't do anything in the game. They did have their chances, but it just always felt like Thomas Frank had them. Thomas Frank and Spurs kind of had them at arm's length, right? So the stats look like this for the game, people. City did have the higher expected goals, but Spurs did create one more big chance. Um, they had two more shots, did Spurs. See, the big chances scored and missed. So City missed both their big chances. Haaland with the one header, and then the other big chance was what's his name? Hold on, I soon tell you. I soon tell you. Yeah, the Marmoush chance when he was through on goal. Yeah, should have done better there. But yeah, those two chances, both in the first half, I think that's the biggest I'd say letdown of if I'm a City fan looking back on the game. The second half, obviously Spurs come out with a 2-0 lead. They say that's the most dangerous lead in football. And a part of the reason for that is, in a way, you're kind of not looking for more goals. The great teams are, but a team like Spurs, who probably still have a bit of apprehension playing City, even though they beat them 4-0 last year on the ground. They're coming out and saying, look, if we just come out and nobody scores, we're happy. We won 2-0 at the Etihad, we move with the 3 points. And it was kind of obvious that's what they were doing in the second half. Probably smartly, because they did need to, at that point, really focus on defending first. But what was kind of weird was, even in that, Tottenham was still, getting shots on target and shots period, and they still were finding ways to carve out half chances here and there. And it wasn't even like they were really going for the third, but they were able to manufacture enough in their transition that, they were able to get some chances. When the second half came, Pep tried to shuffle the deck. Bernardo and Doku came on early, then Rodri and Foden a little later. That second set of players did kind of boost it a little bit more. Um, I don't think Silva was as effective as normal. I don't think Doku had the effect that he normally has when he comes off the bench and City is down and he needs to bring something to the table. I don't think he had that effect where he just kept beating his man. It never really happened on the day. So, look, is this symptomatic or is this just a bogey team for Spurs? I mean, for City at the moment. I told you guys, it was 4-0 against Wolves, but in that first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, Wolves did look like they were going to hurt them on the break a few times. And I thought that when they play a team with a little bit more quality in the break, they might just get found out and definitely give up chances at the very least. And I also said a team that can organize their pressure really well, especially if Rodri's not playing, Ederson's not playing, more than likely you can cause some mistakes. And that's kind of what happened with Spurs. They were very organized in their press and they were very energetic in their press. And they did cause some problems when City tried to play that methodical kind of almost dare you to press so they can pass around you and get into the middle third with numbers. But Spurs just did a really good job of either forcing them to go long, and it was a physical battle with Haaland and some other players, or just kind of slow them down enough to where they didn't get any clear pictures and they always had a decent line of coverage at any point. They never got too stretched against City. When they pressed, they did push the team up high, and that's a byproduct of having that type of speed on your back line. You're able to do that. Now, Ange used to do it as well, but I think Frank does it in a different way because it's clear that the attacking third, the front players, just seem to be a lot more in sync in their press. So they're funneling to one direction, not making it so easy to switch the play. And yeah, it's working out really well so far. So Tottenham, 2 wins from 2 games. And, the first game, people could argue, boy, it's just because they played that team, blah, blah, blah. But what can people say about this one? Not much. So, earlier somebody said, yo, Spurs in the top 6. And I was like, yo, I think you're right. Yeah, I think he is right. See? So yeah, Spurs just run over City. Is this a long-term problem for City, or is it just a blip? on the radar. We're not really sure. They have one more game before the international window. The thing that just worried me a bit for City fans and for City is like they're starting to have trouble even creating clear chances at the rate that we're used to from City. So that's a bit alarming, I think. Even the Wolves game, it wasn't like they created a whole bunch of big chances. They were really clinical, and they converted more chances than they missed. But yeah, it wasn't like this, it could have been eight. It wasn't really like that. But this one, 2-0, and at times it looked like Spurs might even get a third. As I said, when Rodri and Foden came on, that was City's time where it looked like a comeback just might be in the cards, but it was not meant to be. And in the end, Spurs made it 2 from 2, 6 points. So at this point, they were on top of the Premier League. We'll have to wait and see if they did make it to the end of the week, still in first position. See the final third entries that should show you as well. I was just saying, City not quite dominating like they normally do in terms of entries and ball possession and all these things. Now, in this game, it was 61-39, which, you know, for City at home is probably maybe a little less than average. And Thomas Frank would be fine with that. He wouldn't care if he had 29%. As long as these stats, obviously the main stat is the score, but as long as like he's getting more big chances than them, shooting more than them, he would be fine with that ball position stat. But yeah, it was a good game and a good game plan by Tottenham. And one thing that this really showed is that like they actually have a manager that tactically will just do whatever it takes to win games. I think Andrew's a bit more rigid in his approach. But one thing Frank can't say to Ange is that he beat City 4-0 at the Etihad, which Ange can. So there's that. All right, the next game, people, Bournemouth 1-0 victory over Wolves. And this game, it was scored courtesy of Marcus Tavernier early on, 4th minute. Assist going to Antoine Semenyo. But Semenyo, people, you see him get the 6.0. I don't know this is one of the most unlucky people I have ever seen. Brother, look where the man missed from. The man hit the post from right there. So. See? What was the XG? 0.42. Should have been higher. Then from right here, man, blast one over. Get this on target. And this one was blocked. But people, I don't know how the hell they missed this. Trust me. But yeah, 1-0 to Bournemouth. Tavernier scored a nice goal. Fourth minute. But yeah, Wolves had a better performance than they did in the first game. I think Bournemouth could have easily won this game 2-3, even 4-0 on a good day. But I thought in the second half, Wolves were a little bit more competitive. But yeah, as of right now, they look like, that manager bounce they got from Pereira kind of wear off. And they look like they could just very well be in trouble this season, which they have been, the last couple of years, to be honest. But they always find a way towards the end to get out. Let's see if they can have that same type of thing this year, or they can, stay far from that zone. But I think they're going to be in and around it for sure. Two big chances for Bournemouth. You see the expected goals and the possession stats right there, 14 shots to 6. So obviously more action around the goal for Bournemouth. 4 on target to 1 for Wolves. Did hit the woodwork once as well, did Bournemouth. They missed two big chances on the day. So yeah, not very clinical with the big chances. And you see the entries 70 to 61. So Wolves not too far behind them in the entries, but you see the different shots and all that. Just goes to show what they were able to do with it in the final third. That is Bournemouth compared to Wolves. Now, I think this guy Diakite had a rough game the first game, but you could see as the game went on, he grew into it. Senesi was kind of the odd man out a lot of the time last year, which was a bit strange because the year before he was a decent partner for Zabarni, but the emergence of Hoyson last year took his game away. So now both centre backs are gone. They have a new one, and I think Truffair is proving to be another good buy. I had mentioned that I was familiar with the player, not because I watched him in Ligue 1, but because I did cover the Olympics in the last Olympics games, the soccer tournament. I did some games on the channel as well. And Truefair was France's left back at the tournament, and I thought he was excellent in that tournament. And to be honest, when you look at his two games so far, obviously rough to concede 4 goals, but I thought his performance in the first game was very good. I don't think Salah was, I mean, yeah, he still did what Salah does for the most part, but I don't think it was like Truffert was over there struggling. He had some duels against him that he was okay in, and really and truly, he's just a very solid, cultured left foot. Can place the ball, long pass, short pass. Looks quick as well. So, I like the looks of Truffert. I think he's a good replacement for Kirkis. Just goes to show that these guys really have a really good scouting network, because he's a player that I would have thought, definitely could have made the jump to a more, like just a bigger situation than where he was. I think he was at Rennes, if I'm not mistaken. One of those French clubs, if I'm messing that up. But yeah, he's a good player. Tyler Adams, I think he looks fit right now. Tyler Adams, fit as I've seen him since he's been at Bournemouth. So he's becoming more and more influential in the games. But yeah, good performance. I think they were value for some more goals in this one. They did get a run out from Adley. I think he will become more and more influential in the team. And good news for them as well is that Clivert finally back and made an appearance as well. So they're getting some of their players back. Christie and Clivert have been out. They both made appearances. So Iraola would like to get some of the squad back. And overall, on Wolves, I just have to say it's going to be a long season for the Wolves fans. Big up yourself, Africans. You're in it for the long haul with that team, my brother. All right, Brentford and Aston Villa. This was an important day for one of the starters because Otara got the winning goal. He just transferred over um, from Bournemouth actually to Brentford, and they beat Aston Villa 1-0. Now, Aston Villa had 76% possession in the game, but only mustered 1.19 expected goals with all that possession. And look at that, people. 2 big chances for Brentford with 24%. Just goes to show possession ain't everything, right? You have to you have to do something with that possession. They did outshoot them 17-9, but not many of them on target. Just 2 out of their 17 shots on target. Terrible, terrible work there. Atara did get the winner. The one big chance that they got, they did miss, obviously. Aston Villa. It was I think it was Onana. I think it was an Onana chance. Buendia had a good chance too. Yeah, what's this? Yeah, that was a good chance. You should have put that on target. Good build-up play, good, got it out wide, square ball, and then lean back right over the bar. So yeah, Brentford, Aston Villa, 1-0. Aston Villa only a point from the first 2 games. Just not good enough from them, to be honest. When you look at the lineup they started, they don't have Ramsey, they got rid of Bailey. Morgan Rogers was struggling, and it was like they couldn't sub him. They had nobody to bring on for him. There's no other player. It's just youths left after the players he brought on. Gassan came on, new signing. Marlin still can't get a start, so I don't get it. Boubacar had to come out. Buendia came on and had to go back out, so he's not fully fit, clearly. So yeah, Emery is trying to make a miracle. Watkins, you know, not off the mark. Many people, all the FPL experts, touted him to be one of the good first, start of the season people to have in your team and this and that. But it's just not clicking for Aston Villa right now. I'm telling you, they're not doing well enough. Um, I'm not. I can't really. I'm assuming it's because I don't think. I think Rogers does his best work where Tillemans is, right? So that's the first thing. In the way they play, if Matty Cash ain't bombing forward, McKean out here is a waste. He's not gonna go down this right side and do anything with the football. He's gonna have to come inside and link up with people to be effective. So I just feel like he's gone a little too narrow in attack. None of his players that play in the attack really want to go wide for anything. Morgan Rogers maybe will do it and can still do it somewhat effectively, but all these players are central players. So just that lack of width in attack, I think, is killing them. I think it's a part of the reason why Watkins haven't scored yet, because I just feel like his space is kind of clogged up because all these players that play in behind him, they want to make runs into similar channels that he's going to be making runs to, and it's just not really working out. They don't have the balance right. There's not enough width. Um, it's just not clicking for them. Brentford got their first win under the new manager, Richard Andrews. It was a good performance. Aston Villa had a lot of the football, but they didn't really do enough with it. And of course, Brentford just wanting to get their first win at home, first home game, new manager. They got what they wanted. Crowd could rejoice at the end, 3 points, and that's how that one went. But Aston Villa just not doing enough with all that territory, all those entries, all that possession. And in the end, the 12th minute goal stood the test of time, and Brentford was able to take it. But yeah, all that dominance in entries, possession, and only 1.19. So they are not, creating those clear-cut chances like sometimes you need to. All right, let me check in with the chat. The next game is Burnley Sunderland, relegation 6-pointer. All right, let's see. Bernardo was trash. Marmouche and Gonzalez just why the passing was poor. Jason, donkey of the week, a Charlemagne thing, brother. Jamaican say madman or fool of the week. A true, A true. But Charlemagne, them probably thief that from Somali, cause them not original with none of the films up them neither. Trafford decide to try and be like Ederson this week instead of playing like himself. Why? I don't know, brother, because CK, some of the things Ederson can do, I just don't think Trafford can do. Pep loves him a Hispanic. City need another striker and a vice Rodri. City should have never get rid of Alvarez. That may I tell you. Ederson is a madman, but that's his whole character. Trafford tried his best to remove 5 years from my life expectancy. Sell Marmouche to a farmers league. So I had one as had it with Marmouche. Damn. I don't think so, man. I think Marmouche needs to be what Alvarez was and stop playing Marmouche as a left player. Play Marmouche, play Marmouche like with Haaland almost. Like make him play off of Haaland. Marmouche just had a bad day. Yeah, I think he's a good player, man. This was a game for Marmouche up front with a Doku or a Foden on the left. Four for the new city manager would be one that picks the team best for the opponent versus Pep and his same team and control. Wow. So CK want to get rid of the manager, or you're just saying in the future. Let me know, CK. Doku has been poor so far this season, but it's just 2 games. Yeah, true. I don't care for Marmouche. I see that. Morning, everyone. Assembled. Yeah, it's morning there. Jano, big up yourself, assembled. What, about 3 o'clock in the morning? That was always the case when we don't play Roger and KDB regarding creating numbers. Big up Jason and the community. Hit the likes and subscribe. The legend Eras there. Big up yourself. Maybach music. Marmouche is a baller. Our only attacker with Haaland that gets goal assists. We don't have many. Mm-hmm. Not impressed. You can stay till war over. Eras, Van Dijk, and Salah look a yard slower this year. Grateful for this result for my prediction. Thanks, Cherries. Yeah, so actually did actually say 3-2. Villa fixture was shocking. Yeah, they played like crap, man. I mean, they had the ball and everything, but they weren't doing nothing with it. Reckon we have a chance for 3 points if we can unpredictable in our final third. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a good game. I think Assemble is a Liverpool man, and I'm pretty sure. I know Iras is Arsenal. Definitely look at pace VVD and Salah. Again, if I was more brave this week, would have gone for a Brentford win. Yeah, I was not brave at all. I don't think anybody picked this game correctly that played. Yeah, everybody went for Aston Villa to win. I don't even think anybody went for a draw. Let me see. Oh, Chile did go for a draw. So Chile was close. Chile had a feeling. Having a hot mess outfit is better than struggling with hand. Eras apparently we're not used to having a striker. Records needs to be supplied. Somehow our managers are always trying to get attention at the cost of the team. Pep already on his way out. I thought he just signed some more years. That's the chance you take with over 30 players. It's weird. You go to sleep, wake up, and you've lost pace and power. Yeah, but that's the crazy part about this assembled. Before last season started, we were all saying that. And then they went out and did what they did. So it's crazy. And then they won today after all that. I mean, it wasn't like VVD and Salah doing the winning and making them win, but Salah was a part of the goal. He crossed the ball. Play to the player's strengths and we move. Shows with Norgard as well, and he hasn't even played yet. Alvarez, my favorite City signing since 2020. Yeah, I would not, I would have tried to convince him to stay. I swear. I'd say, yo, we're gonna come up with some kind of system that maximize your threats and everything. All right, so Burnley, Sunderland relegation 6-pointer from Turf Moor, and it was a tremendous home start for Scott Parker and his lads as they kept a clean sheet, reminding the Turf Moor faithful what they did in the championship. They had a mad amount of clean sheets in the championship last year. Can't remember the number, but I want to say it was in the 20s out of 46 games or whatever it is. Yeah, 46 games. Ridiculous. So yeah, in the game, Josh Cullen, club captain, and Jaden Anthony, hopeful, reggae boy, hopeful. He had an assist and a goal, took his goal beautifully as well. If you didn't see that goal, go back and look at Jaden Anthony's goal this week. It was very nice. But 58% possession to Sunderland, which to be expected, I think. Under this manager and the players that they acquired over the summer transfer window, they are a pretty high possession based team, I would say, for a newly promoted team. Burnley definitely a bit more pragmatic, but not necessarily all the way. Parker, I think, has a bit of a balance in his style. Both created two big chances. The shots were pretty even. Burnley won the game 2-0, but to be totally honest, it was not, so obviously a 2-0 game. Sunderland did have their moments and did play pretty well as well. Definitely had more of the ball, but the shots on target, the shots were pretty even. And then the final third entries, you see Sunderland had 10 more. The difference really being in the game. Sunderland's two big chances, they didn't take any. At least Burnley was able to take one of their big chances. That was Jaden Anthony after Cullen returned the favor with a brilliant pass one time over the top, and Anthony did the rest, rounding the keeper and then putting the right amount of loft or air on the left-footed finish as he ran off to the corner flag to celebrate. Really, really good goal by Jaden Anthony. So yeah, you should check that one out. Good first goal as well with the layoff. So 2-0. I thought they had scored with Foster, but it was deemed to be a foul in the box. Before that, all the people that ran and got balled in fantasy, he was hurt after 9 minutes. So the legend of week 1, wasn't so legendary in week 2, but we wish him a speedy recovery, whatever is going on with him. So that was the last of the previews of the Saturday until we got to the big bad Gunners. And they actually did me a solid favor by landing perfectly on my predicted scoreline of 5-0. Goals from Saka, Timber with a brace, and Victor Gyökeres with a brace as well. 48th minute and a penalty. So Labil says Gyökeres is meaty. I don't agree with that. Yeah, I think that Gyökeres is not meaty, and I think he's going to help us out tremendously in this season. All right? Pep cannot be fired. Pep didn't use Julian well. Pep was a slave to Haaland. Haaland for bench sometimes. Not for our company, but I always say. Still love Pep though. What you say? Say, you want to prime away from Bayern. And, I wonder if company would have left and forward at City. Probably, a film place. You believe they'd adapt appoint Vincent. If him continue to do some of the things that him do, if he has a better Champions League with Bayern, like he need a better run in the Champions League maybe, but I could see it. I could see them going after him. It was rumored that he wanted the job when he took the Burnley job, but Pep decided to keep coaching. So, him never wait around. Him just go out and coach and, him probably don't want to go coach with Pep. Because him don't want to be known as, another one out of the coaching tree. But yeah, this game 5-0. I think the funniest part about this game probably, when I look back at it, is when it was 1-0. No, when it was 0-0, sorry. I think about the 20th, 21st minute, somewhere around there, Leeds got a corner. And that corner was met in the air by Pascal Stroke in the 20th minute. And people, should have been a goal, I'm going to be honest. But it was maybe that should have been a goal. It was close enough to Raya, but he still had to have a very good reflex to get it over the bar. And that was pretty much the only time in the game where I felt like we might concede. They only had 3 shots the entire game. From the 20th minute on, they never took another shot. You see the expected goals, just at 0.17 for them. That's probably one of the lowest you're going to see. 2.88 for the Gunners expected goals, but we got 5, created 3 big chances. That to me is a start to where I think Arsenal, if we really want to win this league, we have to really create more big chances in matches. We had more than enough for the football in this game to have 5, 6 big chances created. But we're not hitting those type of numbers. We need to improve on that for sure. Obviously, we dominated the ball, so way more passes. 5 shots on target to 1. So we scored 2 of the big chances, missed 1. And that was Gyökeres right in front of goal. So it could have had a hat-trick, probably should have. Poor finish. He snatched at it. The entries is what I love to see. Only 17 on the whole day for Leeds. That's nice. We love to see that. But it was really good performance, a little bit of everything. People already, when the first goal goes in from Timber from a corner, they're saying, okay, Arsenal will never score a different type of goal. And then, of course, the first open play goal of the season comes from Bukayo Saka. Right foot roofed past Lucas Perry in goal. Couldn't do much about it. Side, when it was going past his head. So, yeah, great finish by Saka. Good pass from Timber as well. So, goal assist in the first half. Then in the second half was probably the goal everybody wanted to see if you're a Gunners fan. Calafiori just played one into the channel for Gyökeres to chase. Turn and face up his defender, got him off balance, cut inside, cut between 2 players, and then wrong-footed the keeper with a shot to the near post, a snapshot. Really good finish. One that you saw in like, before Gyökeres gets signed and people want to watch highlights of him and stuff. That's a goal you'd have seen at the highlights. And I remember people saying, he won't be able to score some of those goals in the Premier League and all this stuff. But that goal right there, I think, will give him a lot of confidence. And I think from that point on, you could see like his touches even got sharper. Everything about him in the second half was sharper just because he got a goal. And then, Timber added a second after another set piece. Great delivery again as usual from Rice, and they couldn't deal with the second ball and the melee, and Timber was the first to react to put it home. And then at the end in injury time, Max Dorman came on, did his thing on that left-hand side, or right-hand side, sorry, left-hand defensive side of Leeds, and he drew a penalty from Goodmanson, which Gyökeres stepped up and buried for his second of the game and Arsenal's fifth. So that was pretty much what happened as far as the scoring. I think the 5-0 kind of puts a band-aid on certain things. Obviously, the team news coming out of this game, Saka and Odegaard had to leave the field. Odegaard in the first half, did fall pretty hard on his shoulder. So he had some kind of sprain going on there or something. And then Bukayo Saka, he had something muscular, felt his hamstring, gave the signal to get subbed off to the bench. We did get some news today that Odegaard is definitely not as bad as once thought. So won't require any kind of surgery or something. Just have to manage the pain. And Saka looks to be a strain as well, not a tear. And initial reports are about 2 to 4 weeks out, more than likely 3 to 4 weeks out. So that's not the best news in the world, but I think one of the things that is different about Arsenal this year is, if last year we had won a game 5-0 and these two players got injured in the game, everybody on the FTV would lead with, boy, what we're going to do with Saka or Odegaard or without them. The fact that most people were talking about Gyökeres goals, Eze getting signed, anything but the injuries, just goes to show that we have strengthened in pretty much all the areas. One area, I don't think there's any apprehension from the coach at this point to play the kid, no matter what the situation. So don't think we'll have to worry about that in the future. Trossard came on for Saka when he got injured. Martinelli not even getting a game in the game. So you have players that haven't come on who you would see come on in every game off the bench if they were benching last year. Marino, Martinelli. These players, if they're on the bench last season, if they didn't start, they're going to come on at some point, right? Now you're seeing Max Dauman, Mosquera, different players in there. Now we're going to add an Eze to the mix as well. So yeah, it's a good look right now for the Arsenal. Obviously Friday will be the preview show, so I won't go into who I think will start next week. But big shout out to the entire back line in this performance that they were solid. Calafiori did his thing as well. I think he's kind of proving the decision to play him over Lewis Skelly to be a good one so far. Let's see if that's a permanent thing or this is just something that Arteta saw for these particular matchups to play Calafiori. I think Liverpool's lineup will be very telling as far as the backline is concerned, of what he likes to go with in these biggest games. But I have to say that Lewis Skelly was a lot better today than he was, or Saturday, sorry, than he was when he came on against United at Old Trafford. So that's a good sign. But yeah, Zubimendi bossed it in midfield. Rice had a decent game as well. Definitely way better than the first game. Odegaard was actually playing decent before he came off, which is the sad thing. But Ethan came on and did his thing as well. Bukayo Saka was having a good game. I figure if he was on the pitch, 70, 75 minutes, he probably gets another assist or a goal. And Gyökeres with his brace, as I was saying earlier. Noni Madueke 6.7, but I bet you about 6.5 of them ratings is when he was on this side of the pitch after Saka came out. So maybe a bit of foreshadowing of what we will see next week as well when we face Liverpool. But Leeds, look, I have them as the team that came up. No, who did I pick? No, I picked Sunderland to stay up. So I have Leeds getting relegated as well. They did win their first fixture 1-0 though against was it Everton, yeah. And in this game, they didn't do enough. Their clearest chance was a corner. And from that point, they really didn't create anything to hurt Arsenal. Arsenal, as I said, were very controlling in this game. You starting to see the partnership with Rice and Zubimendi get a little bit more effective, especially when it comes down to like winning the ball back in the middle third or the edge of the final third. They're very, very good at that. And they work kind of as a team, and you notice them, really getting an understanding of how each other play. And I think as that relationship grows, you're going to see a much better Arsenal moving forward as well. But let's not forget, we've been positive Gunners fans, but I have to be honest, the first 30, 35 minutes, I was sending voice notes in chats cussing about how we were playing. But I did see an improvement in the second half. I again just think that the timing of that Gyökeres goal when he scored it right at the start of the second half, especially after missing that easy chance in the first half from good pressure from Arsenal, you could just see that weight kind of leave him. And, maybe that's why he was looking like he was running in Timberland boots before. That weight was holding him down. But I think the goal really and truly kind of, got him to just clear his head and get his celebration out the way and just, yeah, I can actually do this. You know what I mean? Big up next up in the building. Yes, I'm sure if you're going to be on the late night run, you might have to talk about something later. But yeah, I'm doing my EPL content, brother. Them nah stress me out today. No, sir. No, sir. I like Vincent. If we're gonna be honest, expect me to go home to him wife as a legend. Gyökeres needs to work on space awareness, though. In my opinion, he'll double his goals tally. Yeah, look, I don't know, man. A lot of the times, I just feel like we need to just. It's gonna require them to disobey Arteta from time to time because that ball that Calafiore played, like that space is always there, and he's so willing to make the run. But we don't always play that way. So I just don't want him to get disgruntled and stop making the movements that he's been making to score goals. Victor needs to be more selfish. Interesting. Yeah, man, weekly preview and review. We now left it out. Then Saka mash up in body for real. After the early game, couldn't be bothered to watch this game, honestly. Yeah, chilly. We know that goes sometime, when you side lose a morning, it's like your vibes broke from football, brother. Eras, what do you think this manager's game plan will be? Aim not to lose or go for the win? Ooh. Well, when I talk about the Newcastle game, I know it was St. James Park, different atmosphere, but boy, Newcastle just fight fire with fire today, And Liverpool didn't look comfortable for long stretches. Red Scholar did with laugh. And them a laugh after hot chili more than likely. Shadow Star. Laugh at your pain, In my opinion, he gonna park the bus. I put pressure on, but just feel like he will have a sit back. Yeah. I mean, Eras, if he can find a balance, I'll be okay. And assembled. If you can just find that balance. Because yes, there's gonna be spells where you have to kind of just set up your style and do your thing. But that can't be the 90 minutes, just can't. Because they're vulnerable, man. They're more vulnerable than us on the back line. I already see what we can do to kind of target certain things. Big up Jagons. We reached about halfway through. So, late. Yeah, man. Big up to Jordan in the building. Eras, they assembled. Some of the BBK Sports fam. At least that's what they are to me, because that's where I met them, Jagons in the building. Wagwan. Red Skull say win. We are go for win. Liverpool lucky. Here, ball, I go beat them. That I tell you as well. Newcastle was giving it to Poole today. Yeah, it was crazy. Like I had to check and be like, yo, which side have the red card again? My gosh. Balance, Eras, balance. We can't just be one way and win the game. can't go home 90 minutes and we can't bunker for 90 minutes. We got to be strategic, you know. Moments when Anfield go crazy, yeah man, set up a stall for defend. Or maybe that's the time when you go crazy and you fight the fire with the fire, you know. Never watch our next EPL game till Sunday. What you say? 24 hours. I'm over still. A draw is like a loss nowadays. So okay, not losing, but points win the league. All right, so Arsenal 5, Leeds nil. I was the only brave soul, the only brave gunner to put 5 on the board. And you know, Arsenal was good value for the 5. I have to be honest. I mean, we did enough in the game to score 5 goals. We had ample little opportunities to make even a clearer chance that we never quite got off. So look, the promising thing if you're gonna right now, I don't think we really play close to like the best we can play in terms of just fluidity and how everything looks. But we look solid around the back, which is great. And it's looking like, you know, if we don't give teams goals, it's just going to be hard to score on us, you know, especially if Raya keeps up the form that he's shown in the first couple of games. Anyway, 5-0 to the Arsenal, but we know the big one is coming up next week. And it's both teams are very well poised because they both have 6 points going into the game. All right. So Crystal Palace and Forest was one of the Sunday morning games. You see goals from Ismail Assar and Callum Hudson-Odoi in this one. Yeah, I mean, I think a draw was a fair result. I think both teams in spells had decent play. You know, both teams had 2 big chances. You see the expected goals, both right around 1, slight edge to Crystal Palace at 1.1. But yeah, this game, I think, if you look back and you see how the game went and everything and how the chances fell, you know, it was a very even game. And I think if one team did lose, you know, they would have really felt hard done by. But to be honest, Forest kind of gave them a goal. I wouldn't say gave it to them, but a poor play on top of the box, and they still needed to do something to get the goal. Um, but Crystal Palace did well with the mistake, and Munoz set up Sarr in the box, and then Dan and Doy, my baller. You know, I figured he would make an impact. And he did again after his goal in the first match week. A brilliant assist to Callum Hudson-Odoi, who did the rest. I think that Henderson would probably think he should have done better near post. You know, he wasn't able to get his foot behind it strongly enough to really take it out of the frame of the goal. But in the end, those 2 goals proved to be the only ones, and at Selhurst Park, the points were split. So Nottingham Forest, after the 3 points in the first game, you know, held to a draw away at Selhurst Park, and 2 draws in a row for what is really a sad-looking Crystal Palace squad. They'll definitely have to get into the market to try to upgrade some of what's going on here. Only 3 subs made, and I'm sure Glasner would rather put 5 subs on, but I don't think he likes some of the players' quality that are there. No disrespect to those, but you know, Rio Cardenas, who we might see in the World Cup qualifying window for Trinidad, but Dwight York might hesitate to pick him because he hasn't been playing much. He's in the first team now, so he's making Premier League benches, but we haven't seen him much on the pitch. But anyway, enough about Rio. 1-1, Crystal Palace, Forest. Big up Joseph Brown, your side draw this week. Couldn't get the 3 points. Did anybody say that scoreline? Yeah, so Hot Chile actually got that one correct, I believe. No, he didn't. Wait. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, no. He said Forest 2-1. BBK in the building. Oh, go on, bro. What is up, bro? Hopefully next week we get an entertaining draw at Anfield, says the City fan. Liverpool are dead. Make sure we're hitting those likes and subbing to the channel, all you nice and decent people. Big up yourself, BBK. Respect for the support. I missed the show earlier today. I was late for class, my bro. I swear I had 5-0 to the Gunners as well. Well, BBK, I have you recorded as 3-0, my boss. Can anyone name the last time one of our players played a defense splitting pass to our center forward? Defense splitting pass. It wasn't quite defense splitting, it was kind of around them. But I remember a pass by Odegaard when he was, funny enough, on the left side, playing a pass behind the defense to Kai, who ran on and scored. So not quite defense splitting, but a final pass that the forward latched on to score. So a roundabout way, that's it. I think that was the game when we gave them like 5 or whatever it was, 2 seasons ago, I think. We say BBK, bless up. General, yeah, man. Everybody bless up BBK in the building. Yeah. I think that's the last time that I remember that, like, that kind of scenario. And like I said, I mean it broke the final defense line, but it wasn't like, defense splitting in that sense. But yeah, Kai was playing center forward on that day and Odegaard played in the ball, so but he was on the left too, which I thought I had to point out because he's always on the right now. All right, so Crystal Palace. Then we had Everton, Brighton opening their brand new stadium. It says Everton Stadium here, has another name, Hill something another. Yeah, but Everton 2-0. Iliman NDI and James Garner. The first assist from Grealish, and the second assist, the layoff pass to Garner, who had a clean strike. And of course, Pickford with a penalty save late on to preserve the clean sheet for all you FPL fans who had Pickford. Penalty save, clean sheet. Yeah, not a good day if you don't have Pickford. That just pisses you off. But Danny Welbeck was off of it, man. I don't know what the heck was going on. And then I looked at the bench when I was watching the game. I said, oh, Ruta is not there. So I don't know what's going on with Ruta, but he played well in the first game. Was expecting him to play well in this game. He was deep playing. And Welbeck looked like a shell of himself in this game, and he was playing poorly. I mean, the 4.9 reflective of him, getting the penalty saved as well. But I think even without that penalty miss, he would be probably in the fives because he was poor. Mitoma had flashes, but not enough. O'Reilly not influential. Minte a little better, but not influential enough. I mean, just wasn't enough good performances on the day for this Brighton team. Everton had, a few more players on it playing better football, and Jack Grealish just looks like a new lease on life type of person. He just out there enjoying himself. Got a little ponytail thing going now, so you don't know. This man is happy. This man is happy, people. But yeah, 2-0. Good win. David Moyes getting his first victory after losing to promoted Leeds away from home. So they're back on track with a win at home. Everton 2-0 over Brighton. And Brighton, a team that it's just weird, man. They've been doing this last season, every season. They give you a performance that you think, okay, that looks good. And then they can't really sustain it over from week to week. So Brighton is one of those teams I know going to cause a lot of problems with the predictions because you want to pick off a trends and form and this and that, but Brighton just defy those things sometimes. So yeah, a team to watch. I'm gonna watch how many Brighton games, like very limited people get the result right, because I think I was one of the few people that said Everton win. I think Chile also said Everton float, pristine, and Mass Sports World. Everybody else said them was going to lose or draw. And most of you said lose. Most of you had Brighton winning the game. So, look, Everton have their issues right now. I think, they have a makeshift left back right now because my boy the name Mikolenko is out, Branthwaite is out currently. So yeah, they have a lot of little injuries there. Keane, I have to give him credit to say Keane was the worst defender ever. Man actually played a half decent game, so credit to you. Tarkowski tried to give them a goal, but O'Reilly had the softest back pass to the goal he may ever see. And yeah, Brighton, Jekyll and Hyde piece of team that brother. Hard to predict what them going to bring, but I think Ruta missing big time because Danny wasn't on it. I know Danny used to be in terms of his mobility and all that, but he still is very intelligent with his movement, usually pretty clean with the touch. So, it just was shocking like how poor he was. Everything was just bouncing off of him. He couldn't hold anything up. Just was a bad game for him. So um let's see if this is what it's gonna be for him moving forward, or it was just a bad game. But I just don't know what happened to Georgino Ruto. He was there, not listed as out or injured. So yeah, it must be something going on, maybe illness, I don't know. But just was very shocked that Welbeck could play so bad for 90 minutes. And no sub. As a matter of fact, he didn't change anybody in his front four the whole game, which is kind of strange. Maybe it's because they really don't have anybody. All these guys are defender. I think Kapala is a midfielder, and Milner is a midfielder. So yeah, they just don't really have those attacking options right now. Do Brighton, they need to definitely maybe strengthen before the window is out. But yeah, Everton, first home win on the new ground, first match. Then the final game of Sunday was Rodrigo Muniz own goal in the 58th and Emil Smith Rowe getting a point in the 73rd minute. But of course, a lot of things happened otherwise. Bruno Fernandes in the first half getting a pen, putting it way off target after VAR checked for a foul from a corner. I was of the mindset that if that corner or that penalty given away by Bassi is basically the norm now and how we're going to call it, I feel like every game so far there's been two penalties at least. So yeah, man, me know the name Jagons, but I never want to say it because you don't know. People them in the chat from Jamaica move away. All good on this end, bro. Okay, just a heal up BBK. How well Becca only 34 this month? Yo, CK, I see it, brother. We had a conversation, me and my family this weekend, and we had talk about Welbeck, and somebody said, yo, that man is older than. Some say, bro, this man is 33 going on 34, just turned 34. Like, I thought he was like 38 at least. Long time I play ball. Good signs looking at Brighton's next game. No, but remember, they're a Jekyll and Hyde team. So you got the Hyde, or whichever one bad. What bad? Jekyll? Either way, them do a bad, they might mess around and do a good next week. I remember Ozil supplying Sanchez, Aubameyang, and Lacazette with defense leading past to have Yockers. This is what we're going to need. We have the drill and no power. All right, so is it our and 1 year hour? Then can't play a true pass. We ball for 1 year, all the life last year assembled. Everybody and them more. Why we can't play 1 year more? All right, well, 1 year more time is here. So let's see some damn defense splitting pass. Since Odegaard can't do them, as in Kabit, you reference everybody pre-Odegaard can play a pass. So assembly, you think 1 year have that passing in foot? You think so? And Eze, you think them have it? Hella inconsistent. I'll tell you the God honest truth. Everton developing a decent little side though. Yeah, for what they can do is they're kind of maxing out what they can do. They even have little options. Dwight McNeil off the bench. Enough side now no option. Coach should be beaten though. They signed not giving them any game time. It's absolutely wild. They have players, bro. Wait, who are you talking about? You talking about Brighton? Which players you just say? So with them there. Got them now players. With the players them there. So NC Solissa's out and the man sell. It no official. Crude. Alright, let's go back to Man United Fulham. So as I was saying, Bruno Fernandes missed the penalty. VAR call. Disagreed with the call, thought it was soft. Menu, him don't know where Menu play, because Menu was a false nine last season, just for try to give him a game. Yeah, why? Different season, same United, man. I tell you, them can save that for after the international break or watch them play like prime Barca now. I'm telling you. But they usually one good, one bad. That's their thing, bro. They don't have very rarely them get two in a row where it makes sense. Yeah, so Bruno Fernandez, the big thing I heard afterwards was the bump of the referee and Bruno when he was preparing in his when him spot the ball and him walking out to count out him steps. The referee got in his way by accident. And Bruno stared on the man like the man was trying to throw him off, and he just I don't know, he was very emotional about getting touched when he was setting up for his penalty. Which I understand, but you just stop the routine, you go spot the ball again and you do it again. Shouldn't be any big deal. So that's what happened. And the man ended up skying it. I saw pure memes with the ball flying in the universe and man said landing in them front yard, all kind of madness, but it was hilarious. And it got me thinking, Bruno has been excellent from the spot, but I don't know, man. Like, could he have given that one to Mbumo or to Cunha? Or is it just, Bruno is the man, it's his club, his captaincy. Hindsight is obviously always perfect vision. So obviously I know that he missed it now. But I'm just wondering, like, for these guys haven't gotten off the market, they're the big money signings, maybe you reward Cunha for coming so early. I mean, Cunha, it was almost like it's like the last match of the season was going on. And we found out that Cunha was headed to Man United. So he got his business done super early. So he was very, very, wanted to be a part of the team. So, but anyway, Bruno took it and he couldn't convert. And, once that happened, I think it really galvanized Fulham. Like as soon as that penalty went astray, they basically started to play better than United in the damn game. Like literally. And at halftime, Amorim made a sub. Well, not quite halftime, a little bit after halftime, made a double sub, taking off Diallo, who started at right wing back, much to the joy of many United fans, who said he should have started against Arsenal as well. Brought on Dallo and took off Casemiro and brought on Chesco. So when he did that, Cunha slid to where Mount was playing. Mount dropped back to where Cass was playing, and Chesco, of course, came on and went up front. Now, these subs did not really influence the game like he would have wanted, and then he was forced to make another sub. Mount was tiring in the midfield, so he brought on Uarte into that midfield. And then, this just goes to show Ruben Amorim, you see the bench, got Xerxes sitting over there, you got Mainu sitting over there, you have two subs left, and what does my man do? At 1-1 in the 87th minute at Craven Cottage, Harry Maguire and Haven double switch your left centre back and your right centre back to see out this 1-1 draw. Oh boy. So United fans, you let me know now. This substitution pattern. Smith Rowe scored in the 73rd minute, just 2 minutes after he entered, right? And from that point, I would say Fulham was definitely in the ascendancy. Iwobi by this point was pulling the strings in midfield. I thought Sanderberg had a good game as well. But yeah, it was basically mainly Fulham doing the damage, right? And United had the odd half chance here and there, but in the second half. But I thought Fulham definitely played better in the half. But let's just take a look at the raw data. So Fulham edged the expected goals 1.76 to 1.63. One more big chance than United created. Three more shots on in total. One more shot on target than United. United missed both the big chances. Fulham scored one of their three. And the entries you see very close, 50 to 47. So this game could have easily went either way. But definitely, if you go by who finished the game stronger, you would have to say it would have been Fulham. And United's problems. I was talking to someone today, and I was saying, look, the main issue I see with them, you see where Dorgu and Diallo are positioned right now on the graphic. But when a team attacks Man United and they have the ball, they have any type of ball position in the middle third going into the final third, that three becomes a five. So they're all the way back. Then you have Casemiro and Bruno typically by themselves in that midfield for the most part. Now, Casemiro, if it was maybe 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I would say in this system he'd be like a cheat code because he does the work of two people in that area. But Casemiro, the vintage of 2025, I don't believe that he can do the type of things that he did, 7, 6, 5 years ago. And then when you factor that in with Bruno Fernandes not really having the profile to play there in terms of defensively, he doesn't have the instincts either. And it was so apparent when Emil Smith Rowe scored the equalizer because Bruno Fernandes just wasn't aware enough of the movement and where Emil Smith Rowe was moving into. A vacated space right outside the 6-yard box. No other defenders inside. So Bruno would have to just instinctually realize that, oh, I have to run with this guy into this box to try to defend whatever is coming. But by the time he realizes it's way too late, and Smith Rowe is getting that touch on it to equalize the game at 1-1. So what they did in the first half that I thought kept Fulham from just killing them is Mason Mount. If you look at his heat map and stuff, a lot of these touches right here just by the half line. This is in the first half when he's kind of tucking in out of possession to make a three in that midfield and give a little bit of protection to Bruno and Casemiro. Now the minute things were changed around and Shesko came on, that kind of wasn't as effective because I don't think either Mbumo and Cunha really, they didn't go quite as deep and central as Mount was going to really make the extra difference in the midfield. Cunha and Mbumo were still trying to cheat a little bit for that transition phase to be ready for that. So to me, it just looks like a personnel issue. If you're going to play this type of setup, one of these two players is going to have to be more Mount-like, right? Maybe the answer is not Mount because he's not the best player, period. But I do think that they need to have, there's that word again, a balance. And that's why I thought Mbuma, especially in this like half-right space, really and truly, Mbuma wants to start from out here. Yes, he'll pick up these spaces as well. But the minute Diallo is playing, he's not really out here much. Diallo is the one he's leaving the space for. Same with Dalot, because that's the way he plays. These guys get beyond these players when they tuck inside. So I just need to figure out. I think Cunha is more suited to that left or right 10 role than Mbeumo personally. I think Mbeumo would be much better off if his starting position was a little wider. But I'm not saying it can't work. I'm just curious to see. And of course, Shevko, still not up to speed, I don't think, but looked a little bit sharper in this one, if I'm being fair. But still looks like he has a bit of a way to go. But yeah, the double CB sub on 90 minutes is like madness to me. Like, why not try a different attacker? Yeah, people, 21 of you legends in the building. We really do appreciate it. A certain Portuguese won't be in in Manchester for Christmas. The manager plays around the defense as playing through the middle of the opposition defense leaves Arsenal open to counter in this system. I see. United fans unanimously wanted Ten Hag out, so they've backed themselves into a corner now where they have to back all the shit this new manager does. Yeah, but the thing is, like, well, was it known by the fans at the time that they were gonna get Amorim as the next guy? Because unless they asked for the sacking of Ten Hag to get Amorim, then I mean they can just do what they did last time and say they want this guy sacked, can't they? Bruno is a professional. He's paid millions to focus on executing the pressure and not buying the referee. Yeah, it's foolishness. Why you let that affect you so much? Just you're too emotional, bro. Just focus, refocus. To be fair, Harry almost got it right, but like Brandy says, it doesn't count. Yeah, the man come close, no blowout to score it for real. It was very close. So a stat that since Amarim joined United, he hasn't won 2 games in a row in the EPL. Man has played 29. That's diabolical. I know him gone 15 losses, which is a record. I listened from about to 10, but wasn't commenting. Big up yourself, gigs. Respect for the comment. hmm Do you think CR could produce in the current EPL? I mean, probably, probably, because I'm gonna score a pen and few, but I don't think it would have been as much as like him last stint, because him score what, like 16 league goal in him last year at United, 15, something like that. I don't know if him reached so many, but then again, you never know still. Guy is kind of ridiculous when it comes on to things that you think he can't do. If you remember, Fergie nearly lose his job with a disjointed squad. He then went to the academy and used the U team players and moved the old guard out and changed the culture of the club. Rest is history, facts. Like late 80s. People, blessed to the community and see you on the next live. Big up Eras. Thanks for tuning in and checking in. A midfield two of Bruno and Huarte, it's looking dark. Yo, no matter what two you tell me, if Bruno is in it, it's looking dark. You might as well just go Huarte and Castro. And Bruno play where he should rightfully play. Left or right. 10. Big up Jason. I think the double CB sub was to add height so they could try to score from crosses. That's a good point. That's a good point because both Heaven and Maguire got the head on crosses before the game was done. Um, yeah. But why not go to a back four and bring on Xerxes? He's tall, he's like 6'4". Then can jump and buck a ball. 100 goals for 4 different clubs. That's crazy. I don't know why the man can't win a trophy over there though. Mans did I try create history, I try aiming for a bird. Them said the River Thames it end up, man. So 1-1 people. This is the other game that I got correct for the weekend. And so did BBK Sports. So big up to BBK. That was your one correct scoreline of the week. Also, Hot Chili had this at 1-1. So 1-1 was a popular scoreline for this one. I think 4 of us got this one spot on. Yeah, I thought all that goodwill they built up in the first week. I think I heard BBK say it. I said it myself. I said, man, you will turn around and not play so good against Fulham and not get 3 points or maybe even lose. They did get the point, so at least they didn't lose. But yeah, Fulham just Fulham probably wanted a few more minutes, but it wasn't meant to be. The spoils were shared, and it was a point each in the Fulham Man U game. Now, the last game we're going to talk about for the week is the one that happened today, and boy, it was quite a game, people. Quite a game, a classic game. The hell is that? 3-2 Liverpool, people. And you see, Rio Gumoha, Rio, Rio, 16 years of age, in the 90 plus 10. 11 minutes went up on the board, people. 11. My uncle, big City fan, probably the City fan who I know that has loved City the longest. He was so upset and wondering why is it that every time Liverpool is in a game and they need a goal, they always seem to get one more minute than they need to score it. I think today though it was not no big conspiracy as far as the time of the injury time, because there were a lot of stoppages in that second half. From Tonali's shoulder to Joe Linton going down to Shar going down, plus all the subs that were made in the second half. So, I just don't think it was necessarily like some big conspiracy that you had to work out. So this game was really crazy. I think Newcastle played better for like the first, I don't know, the first 30 minutes, maybe 25 to 30, almost 35 minutes, and literally the first time Liverpool really, got a decent head of steam and like a sustained attack. Gravenberch got on top of the box, took a shot through the legs of Joe Linton, and then just the worst possible ricochet off a Shar, kind of wrong foot Nick Pope, and it went in off the bar. Not the bar, but the post, to make it 1-0. And then they held that 1-0 lead until halftime. And then 1 minute into the second half, before I get there, after they scored, Newcastle resumed what they were doing before, pressuring Liverpool, putting them on the back foot, putting crosses in, trying to put pressure on Kirkies, especially at left back, and also on Soboslai, who was the makeshift right back today. But yeah, they were just relentless in their attacking, and in his over exuberance, I'll call it, Anthony Gordon, who pretty much made one of the longest presses I've ever seen a forward make. He was on the, he was on. So I think Konate had the ball wide right in defense, and he forced Konate to turn around and pass it back to the goalkeeper. Gordon chased the goalkeeper. Then, actually, no. So it was Soboslai who had it. He was forced to go back to Konate. So this whole time, Gordon is chasing the ball. And Konate gets it to Van Dijk. Van Dijk, looks to go long, plants, kicks it. And for whatever reason, Gordon, like, leaves his feet recklessly. And I don't know if he was expecting Van Dijk to stand in the same. I don't know what he was thinking, but it looked like he was trying to slide and block whatever kick he was gonna do. But he ended up literally just making full contact with, the calf or a bit above the ankle on Van Dijk's, plant foot basically, and it was a reckless one. Hooper gave him a yellow in real time, but the VAR, consulted and told him to go and have a look. And after reviewing it, rightly for me, it was a red card. Just reckless play from Anthony Gordon. It just wasn't needed, right? So the little momentum Newcastle was trying to build to get back into the game, equalize, that kind of sapped the energy away. And then, it was halftime soon thereafter, and then Liverpool did come out and really drive home that man advantage for about the first 10 minutes of the second half. But it then, Hugo Ekitike had scored the second by then. Very nice goal. Gakpo had a shot block, came back to his feet, just kind of placed it or guided it into the path of Ekitike, and it was a smart side foot finish, kissing off the post as well. So both goals off the post, the first two goals for Liverpool off the post. And then, like I said, they played, really well for about the next, I'd say 5 minutes or so. And then out of nowhere, Newcastle just start to just find another gear and energy, and they really start putting Liverpool under the pressure, just playing super direct. Any throw they got, anywhere close to the box. They were throwing long throws in there, putting Burn and all the tall guys up there. Just trying to maximize whatever little advantages they had. The 12th, well, what should be called the 11th man at this point, the St. James Park crowd, they were ridiculous, like just so loud. I mean, at this point they're down 2-0 and they're really just making noise, you know, off of any little thing. Them win a throw, I think them score a goal, them get a corner. It's like, greatest thing ever. So, it really, really helped them through that game today, in terms of just keeping them energized and everything. And once Gimares found that goal with the cross, I think Livermore sent the cross in. And it was just a mismatch on the back post with Kirkes, who they had been pressuring with crosses the whole game, but this time they were able to connect, and Bruno Guimaraes just wanted it more. In the end, it looked really bad on Kirkes because his back is turned and he looks like he's ducking away from it. But I just think it was too powerful from Guimaraes. And then, Newcastle, it has to be said, after that 2-1, they, with 10 men, kind of had the better play for the most part. Except for like a little spell in the second half where Liverpool did have a little territory and they kept possession better. Newcastle just did a great job of speeding up the game, even with 10 men. But it was really when the introduction of Osula happened, it added a different dimension because, here you have a striker with some striker instincts, and it paid dividends when Pope sent it long. It looked as if Dan Burn got a flick onto it, and then, Osola beat Allison to it and somehow got it underneath an Allison that, was kind of in two minds. Didn't really make himself as big as he normally does. He just was trying to, I think he thought maybe he was going to reach the ball before Osula, but it was just great anticipation by Osula, because if you watch that replay, the minute that Burn goes to win that first ball, Osula just takes the gamble. He just goes into a dead sprint, and without him anticipating that, Allison picks that up, no problem. So good forward play. Maybe he'll get a chance now. He's been playing Gordon up there, but now Gordon will be suspended. It was a straight red, so that's typically 2 games at least. They might appeal, but I don't think they would win. So yeah, Will Osula will have to step up because I think he's gonna have to play up front. We did see Jacob Ramsey come on. Lewis Hall is back from injury, so they're getting a little healthier. But I think if you're a Newcastle fan, you should be proud of your team because they fought really hard for a team with 10 men. And in the end of the day, this is the champions we're talking about. Now, the talk last week, Liverpool fans were saying it's the first game. Don't be too caught up. But, Florian Wirtz, 2 games now where he's kind of getting a bit, I cannot really see him enough in the game, He had that one good shot in the first half, but thought his influence was never really that telling. He was accurate, 96% passing, but, the key for me, no key passes. The expected assists and goals are low, so he's not really getting the ball in those areas to really hurt teams or kill teams. And he did make an error in that midfield. I think he's still coming to grips with the pace and how fast you have to do what you're doing on the damn ball. People are just moving at nuts. Hugo Ekitike has definitely bedded in a little better, but I do think at striker, it's not quite like when you're a midfielder in the Prem, I feel like. Because typically when you're a striker, no matter what league you're in, you want to get off your shot in the fastest time. Like, that doesn't change. But sometimes as a midfielder, that mental clock, it just takes a little bit of adjusting. I think Gravenberch saw that with him when he first got to the EPL. He looked like the league was too quick. Then once he figured it out and the speed, he realized after anticipate a bit faster, and now he's playing how he's playing. So, Salah and Wirtz very, very quiet. Gakpo was always the threat, as well as Ekitike. So it makes sense that the rankings look how they look. I thought Soboslai, even though he got a 6.4, did pretty good for a makeshift right back. I thought he had some crucial interceptions at times. And yeah, Newcastle should be proud. That's the main thing I will say. They did what they could, but in the end, that's what champs do. Champions will do what they're gonna do, and Rio ended up coming on and winning the player of the match because he didn't need more than 10 minutes to make his mark on the game. It was a beautiful goal as well. Salah with the cross, Soboslai with the presence of mind, because he had a player, potentially could block his shot just to run over it. And, unmarked, just past the penalty spot, it was a clinical finish right in the side netting. I said he finished that one like it was his 100th league goal for Liverpool, not his first. But there's been a lot of talk about one of the kids from Arsenal. But this kid, he made waves in the preseason. Fought his way into the first team just about. Was on the bench against Bournemouth, didn't play. But in a game where they needed something to happen, it's very telling that Arne Slot decided to put him on as well, and he repaid his manager with a goal. So I think this kid has the potential to be as big as any other big ones out there right now. Looks to be a player, looks physically strong as well. You see how he took his goal. You know he has confidence. I mean, he didn't even hesitate. He latched onto it like he couldn't wait to put that in the goal. So that to me shows a lot for a kid that young to just in that moment, not even, I mean, it wasn't even like he considered that he wasn't going to put that on target. I mean, it was just so clinical with it. So yeah, big goal. They could look back this season and this fixture and say, boy, that goal against Newcastle in the 100th minute, that's a moment, But look, champions do what champions do. And if the game at Anfield next week is half as entertaining between Arsenal and Liverpool is half as entertaining as this, then I'd be shocked, because as some in the chat were saying earlier, what I think this man will do with the team, I don't think I thought Saba was better than a 6.4, but I think he gave away the ball a lot because he was under pressure. So maybe that's why. Konate was poor today. Konate was Newcastle man of the match. Should have got 2 yellows. You agree with my uncle, by the way, about? Oh, probably my uncle that's a City fan. All right, let me see if I can catch what people say. One Rio. One VVD. 11 minutes for what? Let me just break it down, man. But you still agree with my uncle. In the Battle of the Scrubs, Ekitike leads Victor, then Sesko. Jeez, why are they scrubs? The ball was in play for those 48% of tonight's game. The lowest percentage in a Premier League match since February 2010. Jaja. Yeah, I mean, Newcastle had a strategy. 10 verse 12. It was 11 because the fans make 11. When you're not playing well and still picking up win, your team has resilience. Extremely important ingredient. Absolutely. That's why that was my message to every chat group that was talking about the game I was talking in. I said, that's what champs do. You just have to, I mean, that's all I can say. Bruno, not Linton, was closer to the player in the first goal. No, when I said Bruno, that goal was Bruno Fernandez against Smith Rowe. That's what I was talking about. Not Bruno G and Joe Linton. Very blessed today. Eddie Howe play Gordon on the left. Eddie Howe didn't play Gordon on the left. Oh, he didn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think Eddie Howe really likes Harvey Barnes, and that's kind of messing up everything, because he always plays Harvey Barnes when he's fit, and he moves Gordon around to the right or wherever. When Isak plays, is Gordon is the one that goes to the right. And then last year when Murphy was playing excellent and Gordon was in and out with injuries and stuff, Gordon became the bench player to Rotted. MF say you'll never walk alone. To be fair to Wirtz, he was always going to be quiet this game, looking at Newcastle midfield. True. Because them was going to kick him Rotted and then him try to touch the ball. Underwhelming, he looks gassed, not up to speed yet. Yeah, I think the pace, man, the pace. Even he was walking over to take a corner early in the game. I see other man like I said, Jano, Arsenal better without Saka. Yo, I said that about Chelsea earlier, Like the fluidity and the way we don't worry about which side we're attacking, it look better, it look different. Verts keeps getting pushed off the ball way too easily. True. Saba better at right back than in that deeper midfield role. LOL. He just might be. I will again cheer against Liverpool next week, like every other week. Yeah, I think Liverpool and City suffer from, all the other fans just tired of them two being the ones. Maybe not so much with Liverpool, but definitely with City. I think Anthony A or Barnes would be a better centre forward than Gordon. Harvey Barnes to the middle will be better than Gordon? Maybe. I mean, Gordon had a wicked header chance. It was causing him little problems to the back too. So I mean, he's kind of good and bad there. It's just that he's so much better left that I would just put with him being probably my best attacker right now. I would want to maximize him. Fuck where we put Harvey Barnes. Like put Gordon in the best spot for him, and Barnes will be better. Shit, put it longer through the middle. Man can't run past Van Dyke, man. Or let them rotate a little bit. Do something. But yeah, this game was an awesome game, man. Really, really enjoyed it. Newcastle, obviously they had their shithousery tactics. I've seen it when Arsenal face them. They do the same shit. Just kick over people. If you don't have a referee willing to card them, then it's gonna be a long day. And I think Hooper did a decent job trying to like set the precedent with the cards early on. But for the life of me, I don't know how Kanate didn't get a. He didn't even get called for a foul, and what I thought was his second booking. Um, I do agree with the Garden red card. Gravenberch did well after getting this yellow, not to really get in any other situations for the game. And Gimares lasted a long time with his yellow because he went into some challenges like a madman every now and again. But he, got away with them because they were clean. So kudos to him for that. But and a Liverpool victory would not be a Liverpool victory without Wataru Endo getting subbed on for no reason at the end. So everything happened in this game. Endo came on late. I guess the only thing that didn't really happen is Salah didn't score a goal, but he did set up the final goal, so he had something to do with it. And yeah, is anybody worried about Verts and how quiet he's been? Is anybody thinking that Salah is really going to slow down this season? Those are the questions maybe you guys can answer in the comment section or in the live chat right now. But without further ado, yeah, they did lose some people because Tonali's shoulder looked bad. Joe Linton looked like him pulled something out of Brazil squad as well, it looked like. So yeah, they did some madness. But that's their style against the better teams. That's what they do. Barnes a better finisher was my reason because they got a chance for Liverpool. That's true. That's true. I mean, DJ Giggs at the very least, since none of them are really strikers, if I was Eddie Howe, I would like rotate them a little bit, let them play more free. They were just, one left, one right, once, they didn't have to be so static. They tried those tricks and ended up with injuries. I read that new league and new position for Verts. I'm not expecting him to be world class just yet. Yeah, look, I'm not. I think the player is wicked. I think he's a great player. So he'll figure it out. I think. I don't think it's a you know, oh, he'll never cut it in this league. I don't think it's like that. I think he just needs to get in a little bit better physical shape because the speed, he's definitely seeing that the pace and the speed of play is a bit different. Vert Salah will be fine. Vert will come good eventually. Yeah, I think he'll be good too. I think it's too much evidence otherwise that he's a good player. Like he can't just lose it. I mean, it's possible, but I don't think it happened. That's what happened. All right. So before I look at the standings for the JGTV predictions, let's take a look at the actual league standings. It's only 2 weeks, so we're not going to get carried away. But you see West Ham, Wolves, Brighton, Aston Villa, Man United, and Newcastle. Maybe some of those teams you wouldn't have thought would have been down there after 2 games, but there they are. Then you move up a little bit. Crystal Palace, Fulham, both on 2 points or 2 draws. The only two clubs with 2 draws so far. Then you move into the teams with at least one win after 2 games. Leeds, Burnley, Brentford, Bournemouth, Everton, Sunderland, and City, all with a win and a loss. Then you move into the top 5 where you have unbeaten teams, Forest and Chelsea on 4 points with a win and a draw apiece, and Liverpool and Arsenal and Tottenham, the only 3 teams that have not dropped any points in this 20-team league. So Arsenal, Tottenham, and Liverpool, we know next week one of those things have to stop winning. One of those teams have to stop winning, and it's going to be Arsenal or Liverpool because they play each other. So that should be the cracking game of next week. Just as a quick preview, these are the fixtures for next week. Chelsea, Fulham, and these are Saturday, Sunday fixtures as well. Chelsea, Fulham, Saturday morning, then Man U, Burnley, Sunderland, Brentford, Tottenham, Bournemouth, Wolves, Everton, and Leeds, Newcastle in that afternoon game. And then Sunday, we'll have 4 fixtures. You have 9 o'clock games, Brighton City, Forest, West Ham at the same time. Then in that 11:30 slot, you'll have the big one, Liverpool and Arsenal. And then Aston Villa, struggling so far this season. Can they get it together against Crystal Palace in that last game before the international window? So that's the early preview of the games, just showing you how that's going to go. So let me stop sharing this, people. And not so much time left in the show. So let's get us right away now to the big reveal for week 2 of the table. So we had quite a few participate this week. I don't have space on my screen to put everybody. So we have a top 5 for the week that I've posted. And of course, there was a winner that separated themselves from the pack. And we're going to reveal that right now, people. So in 5th place this week was Nick, my cousin, Nicholas. He finished in 5th. And his score of 5 and 5 with 1 correct score, Nick was able to get the 1-all scoreline in the Palace and Forest game. Then we had Biggs G in 4th this week. Actually in 5th this week, sorry. Nick was 6th. 5th this week, Biggs G. He had 5 and 5 record, but he had 2 games correct. So that was the record for this week in terms of correct score lines. 2 people had 2, myself and Biggs G. He got the Liverpool Newcastle game 3-2 and the Palace Forest game as well. Then Hot Chili, Moss Sports, BBK Sports, and myself all had 6 and 4 records, but the tiebreaker was mine this week because I got the 5-0 from Arsenal and the 1-1 Fulham United game, while they were only able to get 1 game score correct. The 1-1 Fulham United for Chile. The for BBK, he got the same Fulham United game, and also Moss Sports World got the Palace Forest 1-1 game. So that was the tiebreaker that I needed to get the result. So Jason Gooner TV wins his own prediction table, which is how it should be if I'm the bloody expert on the damn show. Don't you think? All right, people, now, nobody cares about who won. Everybody's here to see who finished last. So let me show you guys right now, people, the donkey of the week. Drum roll, please. Brrr. So, Bala said, I can't call it donkey of the week, the fool picker of the week, the dunce of the week. I don't know if I call them, but they're the donkey here. So the week 2 donkey goes to, we're giving away a lot. So I had one, so sorry, my sister in Duckland, the perennial donkey, and Joseph Brown, my brethren as well. So sorry that you all had to get a dirty stinking hee-haw because you're the week 2 donkeys. 3 and 7 record. You did not get any scores correct, so I don't know why I put the ones right there. All of you were 3 and 7 with none of them perfect. So you were equally bad this week, and I could not break the tie. So you all are the donkeys. I should have put a plural there, but yes, I wasn't expecting more than one of you to be the donkey. So yeah. But thanks for playing as usual. We'll be back Friday, so you have a chance to redeem yourself. I had one, I know you will do so. Duckland and Joseph B, I'm sure you'll be around to get off of the screen. Nitro was there week 1. He's not here this week, so You don't always have to stay there, my people. You won't always stay there. Sometimes you can make your way out of purgatory, right? So let me get you now to the FPL update, people. Before we run off, I am going to prediction of 2-1 for Leeds was close. Yeah, it was very close. Actually, I think Arteta might sign you if you continue keeping this up. Technically, the Liverpool Arsenal could draw. It could. Matter the way we played the game, had Newcastle 10 men running us ragged. Yeah, look, I have to give Newcastle credit, man. I was like, yo, who has the red card? It doesn't make sense. Why are they defending all the time? And this team have 10. But yeah, the crowd, they were just up for it, man. They were up for it. Maybe the kicking in the first half finally paid off. Yeah. Today's a game where like that energy of Lucho was needed to match the energy, you know? And imagine I wanted to say Spurs win. Exactly. Exactly. Prediction boss. Yeah, man, we feel good this week. Yeah, man, the donkey have a nice grass. Yo, them eat well. See, we don't into animal cruelty over here, so the donkeys are well fed. Yeah, man. D-Bot dead with laugh. Greatest TV in the world. Man using bench boost. Yo, just cool, man. Just cool, man. Just cool, man. Just cool. It never even worked for me. I just Dubravka alone make it worth it. But I feel bad. I should have used that next week when man's never. Yo, Cole, you see, anyhow, but a lot of us were messed up by Cole Palmer's problems. But mine weren't as bad because I had the bench boost. But I never really got much from the bench. Just the goalkeeper saved me. That clean sheet by Dubravka on the bench was key. Arsenal decided to be extra because this should have stopped at 3. For real. A lot of you had 3 love, you know. 3 love and 2 love were the most popular ones. But when we say 5, the whole of them laugh after me. And Sheridan was the only person we get close. He did have 4. So I know the penalty pissed him off. All right, so congrats to my fellow donkeys. Yeah, at least your share I had one. You're nice. Jaguars, you get where? You get where, Jaguars? Not this week. All right, let me check in with the fantasy just to show you guys how it's going. All right, you know we play draft league as well. So before I show you the traditional fantasy, let me show you how my draft leagues went this week. So I'm in 3 leagues. I know Mass Sports World is like yak work, and this is the head-to-head. So I had a game against King's Football Show, and I got murdered 72-36. I was not very nice of Kings, and this is why I got 36 points. Nothing really except for Cucurella on the back line, Semenyo, Rice, and Endo. I thank the Lord they did something. Everybody else did crap. Palmer didn't play, which hurt me a lot, but I don't think Palmer was going to score 37 points, so probably would have lost this week in this matchup. So I think I'm on 3 points in this league table. Yeah, I'm on 3 points. The guy who beat me won both games. And big up to Miss Melina, living Saliba Loca. She has 2 wins as well. But look there, I got 94 points, so I'm not doing so bad. Not doing so bad. And must set the league and I win the 2 game them. Jeez. All right, now let's take a look at Yakins and next draft league. This one again, 32 points, and I'm all the way in 5th position. So not the best week at all. Cucurella, Munoz, Bruno G, Saka, Wood and Mateta never do nothing. And Collins dep on my bench. I chill with him 9 points. Jeez and peace. What a rough week. Alison Beckham start 1.2 week in a row now for Becca. Forget off the Liverpool defense train, especially the goalkeeper. That's like the worst person. At least the defenders might give a goal assist or something now. finally, a league where we do something in the draft. 71 points. This is like my family and them. This is the bragging rights league. So Timber in this team, which is nice. So I get 24 points there. Kelleher, Verge, but defensive contribution, Musk. I mean, not a 2 goal man them score. See Virgil fantasy points there. Marmoush been disappointing in fantasy so far. Rogers, Kudus, Enzo got a goal, nice. And what else in the game? Get something else? Oh, an assist too. I forgot about that. Sar again, always doing something. Mateta don't get off the mark yet, but I now give up. Yakeres get the 12. So yeah, that was a good week there. So I think this one I'm in what, third, 14 one and 15 the other one. But still early days. Then in fantasy now, had a nice week, people. 76, one chip yak, and then did play my bench boost as Demo said, but didn't get much, just the 8 points. The Bravka really helped out. If I had just captain Pedro though, it could have been a monster. I would have gotten very close to the 100 points if I had captain Pedro. Even though no, I'm thinking 15, but I would lose 6. So 9 more points. So I'd have been on 85, which would have been really nice. But 76 is a good week. Dubravka, I got his points, even though I benched him. Yeah, Murillo, I was hoping for at least some contributions to get him back to more than a point, but that didn't happen. Of course, Randa's quiet this week after a big week last week. Anderson, nothing extra. Dorgu, nothing extra. Salah, luckily with the assist late. Had a feeling not to captain him this week. So, the only thing I really kick myself about is I had it on Pedro first, and then I put it on Gyökeres, and in the last minute, I gave Saka for some reason. And I really feel like if Saka doesn't get injured in that game, he'll probably do more in the second half, like a assist or a goal or something else. But, I mean, it wasn't meant to be, and he got the injury. Anyway, in the leagues in this, not doing too badly. I think this one is a huge one. iSports Fearless Fantasy League. I don't know whose league this is, but I'm 15th with 134. This brother has gone off in the 2 weeks, 90 and 60 something. Don't sleep. But yeah, this league have a whole heap of people. Let me see. There are 15 total. How many? Out of 545. I mean 15th, which is not bad. Then, this King of Jamaica, Game of a Life, have me by 5 points. But then a second so. Then Sports DTM T-Got League, me then a first. So the whole on the back off. Ball Pre TV. I see him name close to mine in a lot of these leagues right now. Mass League, big up yourself, Mass. I have Waffle Done by 5, big up to Waffle Done. I think some of you had a lot probably in this one as well. So big up anybody playing. There's Miss Melina there. And then what a joke. I'm second in my own league, but it's only by game week points difference. So big up to Cuz Nicholas. Also in the chat tonight, NDH. Man get 79 points this week with no boost. Look at that forward line. Damn. It looks like he spent all his money on his forwards, but still has a nice balance. So not bad. He don't really play this one so much, So let me see if he can keep it up. Good week, Nick. Good week. So yeah, not too bad this week, people. Made a move in all of these. I was 9th last week, 9th, 10th, 196 and 15th. And after that 1 week, quite a jump. So yeah, man, if we can keep that up, we'll move up in every rank everywhere. Top 12,000 in the US. 58,000 adding Arsenal thing. So yeah, if we can do that week to week, you never know. I'm in the top 500,000 in the world. That's not bad. I was in the 3 millions last week. So yeah, people, the FPL go on decent this week. We're gonna see what can go on. It's very early, but we have other chips to play. So you never know. We're gonna see what can go on, people. People, big up on yourself. That is pretty much it. We got through all the stuff we wanted to get through. 2 hours and so. But the show is over, my people. The show is over. The show is over. Respect for the congratulations. Palmer toss me. Verts need to be dropped ASAP. Disappointment. Oh, yeah, Verts in your team. Hush. So Jaguars, the difference is, bro, a man yo, you see this man we have 140? The man triple captain. I swear, this man right there, so the man triple captain. Like how did you triple captain Timber, bro? Like what? And why do you have these people from Burnley? Like no, bro. I mean, it's almost like just to make sure we don't think them really thief. Them must have one Bisaka with a 0 there. Like how did you have these three, bro? Like and you didn't wild card this week. So you literally looked at the first week, maybe you bench them 3 man in the first game just for the Sunderland game. That's why you have them in it, like, bro. And then for them to do 13, 14, like, and then triple captain, that is ridiculous. Triple captain in Timber is diabolical, bro. Like, how? Like, I mean, even if you think he's going to get a clean sheet, that's 18 points. Like, what? Bro, that's crazy. Like, how did you know to do that? How? It don't make any sense. Yeah, so the difference between draft and regular FPL, basically, like draft league, let's say you have 8 people in the league. You set up an actual draft night where you and other people sit down, well, not in the same room, but basically you have a timer and you have players and you just pick whatever player is left to be picked. It's not about a budget and you have players to use your budget on. It's just any player you can get. So if you have the first pick in the first round, you don't pick again until all 7 other players pick, plus them pick them second pick, and it comes back to you. So if you get the first pick, you're not going to pick again until everybody else have 2 players, right? And then you get 2 picks again, and you kind of work your way through the draft snake. First to eighth, eighth to first to eighth, eighth to first, all the way through till there are no more players. So everybody in the league can have Haaland and captain him every week, like in the regular FPL. In draft, the players I showed you on my draft team, only I have those players in my league. So if I want another player, I have to ask for a trade, and if they want to do it, them trade. Or you look for players who no one has, and you can trade out your players for them. So it's a little more strategic in that. I wouldn't say more strategic. It's just different. Can't even say one more strategic than the other. But it's just different. I enjoy that one. That's the first one I played. I never played the traditional FPL before. I mean, I played it like I've always made a team, but I've never looked at it week to week and tried to get points in it. Like the last couple of seasons, I've done that. People weird. I don't believe. Yeah, triple captain, bro. When I saw this dude had 140, I said, I guarantee you, this man. Like I said, either him have Calafiori and Timber, Pedro and Yokeres, and him triple captain Timber. And he never have all those things, but he triple. No, I didn't even guess triple captain Timber. I said triple captain like Pedro, so him get 45. Brother, the man actually triple captain Timber, bro. So 24 points Timber get times 3 at 72. Brother, how much me just get for this? I get 76 for the entire week, with everybody, and this man gets 72 with one person. Crazy. Anyway, people, manners and respect, them time, almost midnight, long day tomorrow. So until next time, my people, big up on yourself. Exactly, I had one, like NFL draft, like fantasy draft type of thing, NFL style, yeah. Like you actually have your own team of players that nobody else don't have them. Yeah. Anyway, people, thanks so much for the support. About 18 of you like stuck it through till the end with me. Nitro Gunners in the building. Big up yourself. People, what's today? Monday. So tomorrow is Tuesday. Probably won't see you guys again until Wednesday. I'll have a little free time that day. So more than likely we dive into some of the things that people wanted me to talk about tonight earlier on in the program. Since then, we've just been talking EPL, having a good time, but definitely going to talk a little bit about the international football landscape. We have Jamaica releasing a watch list, so to speak, today. So, yeah, we're going to look at that. We're going to look at the women's draw for the World Cup, look at the opponents we face, talk a little bit about the U14 girls that just played the competition, just have a reasoning time episode where we delve into some Jamaican football things. Of course, you know, JPL got kicked off this week, which we kind of know because it's not really broadcast anywhere officially. Oh, boy. Anyway, people, big up on yourself. Thanks so much for tuning in. It was a great weekend of EPL. Congrats again to me for winning the predictions this week. Commiserations to Ayadwan, Duckland, and Joseph Brown. Sharing the dubious crown this week of Donkey. And yeah, we'll be back on Friday with more EPL content, EPL full match week preview, analysis, team news, injury news, and we try to predict all 10 matches as we go into this first international break of the 25-26 season. Big up yourselves. Thanks again. Until next time, people. Come on, you Gooners. Liverpool, Anfield, it's time.